Welcome to What Are You Sporting About podcast, a podcast about business, employment, sports, and entertainment to help educate, support, and guide you to your next level. Here's your host, attorney Sivonnia DeBarros.
A lot of people have issues with transitioning because they either lack the identity of who they are, and because there's a transition that's coming up, they are not equipped to actually follow through with that transition. They're not prepared to follow through with that transition. All right. So we're going to be talking about my super two-step method to transitioning. And before we go and dive deeper, guys, I want to remind you to register for the Athletes Making Moves course. You can do that at bit.ly/AMM course. That's bit.ly/AMM course. If you are here, please let me know that you are here. If this video is something that someone in your community needs to hear, please share this video with them or this audio later if you are listening through our podcast channels. All right. Guys, I want to share something with you because when I was researching statistics around transitioning, I found some things that were pretty interesting. And part of what I found was that 51% of Americans change jobs 1 to 5 years. That's every 1 to 5 years. All right. And some of them are changing jobs because of salary reasons. In 2020, 52% of American workers said that they were making a career change. Now, we know 2020 was the height of the pandemic, so it makes sense, right? But what if you're not in a pandemic? What if your position, your job is being deleted, removed? You're being laid off. It's a transition that you weren't actually ready for. Okay? In every sense of the word, you weren't actually ready for this transition. How do you properly transition? And I'll tell you this, to properly transition, you need to understand and know who you are, but you also need to be prepared. And that's my super two-step method to transition. And we're going to dive deeper into why I came up with that method to help you transition, no matter where you are in life, even if there are things that may come up that causes you to transition before you are ready. The goal is to stay ready, so you absolutely do not have to get ready. All right. Let me share a story with you. When I was going to transition between high school to college, and we can even use the same method for transitioning from college to law school. I did the exact same thing, so I'll share the story with you about going to college. My senior year of high school, I left campus to go to work. So it was a program called on-the-job training. And I didn't need to be on campus because I already had all of my credits, right? So I was already eligible to graduate. So I would leave campus, I would go to my job, and I actually earned additional credits because I was actually learning things while I was at work. I would come back for a practice, whether it was track or cheerleading. And yes, guys, I was definitely a cheerleader, love it. But because I was prepared or preparing to go to college, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, have always made this statement. I began researching schools, trying to see who has the best program for the major that I wanted to major in, which was political science. And I looked at these schools, whether they were in my state, my hometown, whether they were out of state. And I compiled all of that information to come up with the best option for me. Now, one thing about me was, and I said this before, I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted to become. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew the impact that I wanted to make. And part of that led me down this road to analyzing where is the best launching pad for me to get the information and the education that I need to get me along this pathway to ultimately achieving the goal that I had set out for myself. This is one of the reasons why I wrote the book, What Are You Sporting About?, which inspired this podcast. Okay. Because sometimes what we do is we stay in a position way too long because we've forgotten who we are. What we do is we stay in certain positions or titles way too long because we're trying to appease somebody else. We're trying to make it look like we got something that we don't necessarily have. And so when that transition comes up, we've completely forgotten about the substance of who we are. We've completely forgotten about what makes us happy. What is it that we want to do and what our dreams were and what they are, right? Because we can revive them. We can revive them. So when a transition comes up in your life, I want you to think about this super two-step method, because you need to, one, know who you are, and two, prepare before it even happens. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You need to know who you are, and you need to prepare before it even happens. If this is resonating with you, let me know that it is resonating. Okay. You guys, a lot of people don't make a move to transition because they have wrapped their entire identity into their work or where they work or the position that they have. In fact, 55% say that their identity comes from their work. So what if you are an athlete who has only played a sport your entire life? That's how you grew up, that you were groomed to be that, to be this amazing athlete. And now you're at the end of the rope of the sport life, of playing it at least. Your identity has become so consumed with the title of athlete or professional athlete that you've forgotten that there will come a time and a point in your life where you must transition. Not may, because may is conditional. There will come a time where you must transition, but you have not thought about what it would take for you to transition. And in fact, you have stepped so deeply into the roles of what other people want you to be for them that you've forgotten about who you are for yourself. So let's deal with that. Identity. It's the first step to transitioning. You must recognize the shift that has to happen in your mind for you to be prepared for transitioning. There has to be a mindset shift for you to get on the road to preparing for transitioning. And that starts with detaching your identity from the title that you hold. Yes, I may be a lawyer, but that's not who I am. That's not all of who I am. That's just one thing that I do. And you have to make that distinction. Yes, I wear the title of athlete, but that's not who I am. That's not all that I do. I wear the title of parent, of mom, dad. But that's only a title. That's not only about who I am. So who are you? Who are you? At the end of the day, who are you? When you go home to glory, what will people say about you, about your identity? Have you been authentic enough to show them exactly who you are? Are you someone that a friend can call on and listen to, right? You have to detach yourself, your identity, from the title that you wear, because they are two separate things. And once you understand and recognize who you are and what your identity is, it makes transitioning easier. So let's take it from a career standpoint. If you are deciding to transition into a different career, knowing who you are, what it is that you may want to do, what makes you happy, what gives you fulfillment, it will help you in the preparation process so that you can actually transition into a place, a career that suits you. Not the title that you have, but it suits you. Okay? So the first step is knowing who you are. Get your identity straight and make sure that you are not tying your identity to a title. Make sure that your identity is not tied to this fictional idea of what you think other people want from you or what they need from you. The concept of self-preservation is extremely imperative. You must know who you are and do what you need to do for yourself first, before you can do anything or help anybody else. If the ship goes down with you, who are you going to save? You can't save anyone. So work on the identity. Get into the habit of working on this mindset shifting so that you can transition when the time comes. The second step is preparation. The second step is preparation. I shared with you guys that before I even went to college, I was already preparing to go to college. I knew that's something that I wanted to do. Same with law school. I knew it was something that I wanted to do. I already knew who I was. I knew I wanted to make an impact in this world. And I knew that law would be the mechanism that I would use to make that impact. However, prior to being admitted into college or law school, I had to do my due diligence. I had to sit down and prepare. I had to research and study. I had to look at the results of what I had come up with and compare and say, okay, either this is a good fit for me or not. Then I looked at location. Either this is a good fit for me or not. I wanted to dip my toe into removing myself out of the same city of, always being with my family as a child and a young teenager. And so the decision for me was, I'll move to a different city, but I want to stay close enough just in case something may happen, right? And so that's how I came up with the decision of what college I would go to, in addition to which one had a great political science program. Now, sometimes people can't properly transition, or they create these issues, major issues of anxiety around transitioning, not only because you've forgotten about who you are and what your identity is, but you've never prepared for this process. If you are an athlete playing sports, like you literally compete for dollars, right? That is going to end. I don't care if you play 4 years or 12 years, that is going to end. You should always be in a process of preparation. What does life look like after this? What does life look like after this? Even if you are a business owner without any type of athletic background, what are you doing in your current role? What would you want later in life? What do you want for your future? What do you want for your legacy? And if your future looks completely different from what you are already doing now, there will come a point where you must transition, which means that while you're in that position, that role, you need to do what it takes to begin preparing for that transition. And when you prepare, it takes some of the guesswork out. It takes away some of the anxiety, because you know that something is happening next. My transition is going to happen next, right? And not only are you prepared to make the transition, but now you're able to walk in that transition wholeheartedly, fully, authentically yourself, because you know exactly who you are. You've prepared for this exact moment because you knew who you are. You knew what impact you wanted to make. You knew what legacy that you wanted to leave for your kids or your family or your spouse, right? So that is my super 2-step method to transitioning. Understand your identity and definitely prepare, even if you're not ready for the transition right now. Okay. So this is a concept that we will be diving deep into, along with self-identity and how it attaches itself to making or breaking your business in the Athletes Making Moves course. This course and the launch date is close. It really is a matter of the heart, because we're launching this course on March 21st, 2022 this year, which is the date of my late grandmother's birthday, Glovine Smith. And she's an individual who invested a lot into my life. And I've said this before, she invested things that dollars could not pay for. This is paying an honor to her, giving deference to her life and the things that she sowed into mine. And so I am sowing this into your life, the Athletes Making Moves course. And as a part of the proceeds, from this course, we are donating a portion to the Alzheimer's Association in my grandmother's honor. And so this is extremely exciting for me. Joyce, thank you. Joyce says that these are serious insights, understanding your identity and preparation. Thanks for sharing. You are very welcome. You're very welcome. So yeah, we will be diving deeper into these concepts and these issues around identity, but also why your identity is important and why your belief in who you are creates a close correlation between whether your business thrives or it fails. And I want to help you to unblock the blocks. I want to help you to make sure that you are creating a business that not only you're happy with, but one that will ultimately pay you and your family dividends in the future. One that will ultimately help you to live the life that you want to live, but also making sure that you're protecting the assets that you're creating. Okay. So if you are interested in this and you want to take advantage of this, we are closing the doors on the date of launch, March 21st of this year. I recommend that you go ahead and definitely sign up now before our spots close. For our premium and gold levels, we are only taking 50 people per level because we want to make sure that we have enough manpower to touch all of you guys and to make sure that you are getting what you need out of this course. So again, guys, my name is Sivonnia DeBarros, the protector of athletes, and it is always my pleasure to educate you, motivate you to your very next level. Until next time, I will check you guys later. Ciao.
For joining us this week on What Are You Sporting About podcast. Make sure to visit our website, prosportlawyer.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite platform is, so you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or iHeartRadio. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our book, What Are You Sporting About? Attorney Sivonnia DeBarros is available for private consulting at sldebarros.com. And remember, we're here to educate, support, and guide you in your journey to success because we're all sporting about something.